Welcome, history enthusiasts, to Europa Unveiled. Look around you. Whether you stand amidst the crumbling grandeur of ancient ruins or the vibrant bustle of a modern European capital, you are walking on layers of history. History that isn't just about dates and names but about the profound cyclical dance of power, the rise of great civilizations, the zenith of their influence, and the inevitable, often dramatic fall. Today we embark on a journey that stitches together two seemingly disparate threads of European history, yet threads that are fundamentally linked by the very nature of power. We'll explore the majestic rise and fall of a civilization that laid the very foundations of Europe, and then we'll peel back the layers behind the headlines of a more recent, equally pivotal event that reshaped the continent. Our destination, ancient Rome at its imperial peak, and the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Two moments, centuries apart, yet both resonate with powerful lessons about human ambition, societal structures, and the unstoppable march of change. When we talk about the rise of an empire, few compare to Rome. From a small city-state on the Tiber, it grew to dominate an entire continent and beyond. By the 2nd century AD, under emperors like Trajan, the Roman Empire was at its territorial zenith. Its influence was vast. Latin became the lingua franca of the West, its laws formed the bedrock of modern jurisprudence, its engineering marvels still awe us today. But how did it achieve such unprecedented power? A combination of military discipline, strategic alliances, innovative engineering, and perhaps most importantly, a remarkable capacity for assimilation. Conquered peoples were often offered Roman citizenship, integrating them into the fabric of the empire. This wasn't just about brute force, it was about building a cohesive, if hierarchical, society. Yet even at its peak, the seeds of decline were being sown. The sheer size of the empire became a logistical nightmare. Maintaining control over vast distances, defending enormous borders against barbarian incursions, these were immense burdens. Economic strains emerged, inflation, over-reliance on slave labor, and difficulty financing an ever-growing military. Internally, political instability became rampant. The crisis of the 3rd century saw a rapid succession of emperors, many dying violently. Civil wars weakened the central authority, and perhaps most critically, a decline in civic virtue and a growing disconnect between the elite and the general populace began to erode the very foundations of Roman society. While the Western Roman Empire officially fell in 476 AD, it was a long, complex process, not a single event. It was a slow, agonizing descent, hastened by a confluence of internal weaknesses and external pressures. The legacy, however, remained. Roman roads, Roman law, Roman architecture, they didn't vanish. They became the very soil from which new European nations would eventually grow. Understanding Rome's trajectory isn't just an academic exercise, it offers profound insights into the challenges faced by any large, complex society, the balance between expansion and stability, the management of diversity, and the ever-present threat of internal decay. Now let's fast forward to a much more recent but equally symbolic shift in Europe's power landscape, the fall of the Berlin Wall on November 9, 1989. For nearly 3 decades, this concrete barrier wasn't just a physical divide, it was the chilling embodiment of the Iron Curtain, separating East from West, freedom from communist oppression, families from each other. Behind the headlines of that momentous night was a complex interplay of internal discontent, external pressure, and accidental miscommunication. For years, the people of East Germany, like those across the Eastern Bloc, lived under strict surveillance, limited freedoms, and economic stagnation. The desire for change was palpable, simmering beneath the surface. Externally, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev's policies of glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring, inadvertently created an environment where dissent could finally breathe. He signaled that the Soviet Union would no longer intervene militarily to prop up communist regimes in Eastern Europe, a radical departure from past doctrines like the Brezhnev Doctrine. This gave courage to reformers and protesters. The immediate catalyst for the wall's fall, however, was a bizarre twist of fate. On November 9th, an East German Politburo spokesman, Günter Schabowski, was giving a press conference. He was handed a note about new, more lenient travel regulations for East German citizens. Unaware of the full details or the intended delayed implementation, he mistakenly announced that the new rules were effective immediately without delay. The news spread like wildfire. Thousands of East Berliners, in disbelief and hope, flocked to the checkpoints. The overwhelmed border guards, without clear orders and facing an immense peaceful crowd, were forced to make a decision. They could open fire, or they could open the gates. They opened the gates. The scenes that followed were unimaginable just hours before. East and West Berliners embracing, dancing on the wall, chipping away at the hated symbol of division. It wasn't a planned revolution, it was a spontaneous explosion of human will, empowered by circumstance and a bureaucratic blunder. The fall of the Berlin Wall wasn't just about one city, it was the symbolic end of the Cold War in Europe, paving the way for German reunification and the eventual dissolution of the Soviet Union. It showcased how seemingly immovable structures of power can crumble surprisingly quickly when internal pressures meet external opportunities. From the slow, majestic decline of the Roman Empire, a process spanning centuries, to the swift, almost accidental collapse of the Berlin Wall in a single night, European history is a tapestry woven with threads of rise and fall, power and resistance. Both stories remind us that power, however absolute it may seem, is ultimately fragile. It is influenced by leadership, by economics, by external forces, and crucially, by the spirit and will of the people it governs. Understanding these cycles, these behind-the-scenes moments and grand narratives, isn't just about remembering the past, it's about understanding the present, and perhaps even shaping the future. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Chronicles of Power. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Europa Unveiled, and let us know in the comments, what other great empires or iconic historical events would you like us to explore? Until next time, keep exploring history.